Welcome, saber enthusiasts. I am Nick Nitro, and I am the Lord of the Crucible. Today we are here for the full review of the Imperial Workshop Vega V3, which is a Xenopixel V3 saber. Now, I have gone through this a little bit. I've gone through the manual, and going through the sound fonts, there is only one sound font that comes with the saber with the SD card that actually has a music track to it. Sort of. We'll get to that a little later on. That's actually kind of a funny thing. Okay. Anyway, let's go ahead and get our measurements out of the way. It does come with a NeoPixel blade. Very hard dust cap, but you've got your standard connector there, and we should get a really good picture of that, and we'll try and throw that right up over here. Try and get a good shot of the Xenopixel board here, so you can see that. And this is where the SD card is removed from here. Now this is just a straight pull out, a little different from what I'm used to. This is from Crimson Dawn, and this is their Crimson Core V2, and as you can see here, it's a little bit different. This bail moves forward and then flips out, exposing the card. So when you put it down, you slide it back. It's different. It's not exactly the same. They both have benefits, they both have downsides. Really, it's a matter of personal preference. Let's go ahead and get our measurements out of the way, and we'll go on to some of the other differences. So, as you can see, this is going to be very nose heavy. But let's go ahead and go through the basic controls here. And there's a couple of interesting things about that, but we'll get to this and get to that in a moment. The first control that I really like on here is the ability to check the battery. And once you have the saber turned on, all you have to do is tap the button 3 times quickly.
Battery at 97%.
So there you go. Now, next really useful feature on here is going to be the volume adjustment. A lot of the sabers that I'm used to, you hold the button for 1 second and it goes to like a preset value. Well, sort of yes, sort of no. more control. You hold the button and then you clash the saber. So you can do that easily by,
Volume level.
now you're in the volume level menu. Just hit the button once each time you want to change the volume.
Volume level 10.
That takes it down to 10%.
Volume level 100.
So everything is in 10% increments. We're going to take this down to about 20 or 30% because some of these sound fonts are kind of loud. So
Volume level 30. Volume level 20.
So we're going to stick with 20 here. In order to select that, you hold the button and clash the saber again.
Volume level selected.
And there you go. Just a fun little side note. There is 45 sound fonts on here. It's a lot of them. You've got one, and only one, with an audio track on it. So I've already got it connected to the app. Let's go ahead and go over to that font because I just think it's a neat thing. So it's called Artemis. Let's go ahead and get out of the app for a moment. There we go.
App disconnected.
In order to play your music tracks, if your font has a music track, you double click the button. As you can hear, this is not a music track. This actually is, here, let's stop that by double clicking again. This is actually a selection of communications between ground control and various space missions for NASA. Everything from some of the Apollo missions all the way up through some of the shuttle missions like Columbia. For someone who's a bit of a space geek like myself, this is really nice. So if you happen to have the Artemis and you've got that track, yeah. Okay, so that's how you control your audio tracks. We're going to go ahead and put this back on track 1.
Imperial Workshop.
And then we're going to go ahead and disconnect the app.
App disconnected.
Igniting the saber, you've got several ways you can do it. You've got a variety of gesture controls, everything including a push on and a pull off, which I went ahead and disabled. Those have been interfering with other features for me. So, but you've also got your twist on, twist off, you have a swing on, and you can just hit the button one time, and to turn it off you can hold the button. So simple as that. Now being a NeoPixel saber, as you see, some really nice animations in here. Also for your blaster deflects, it's going to be one button press. Clash is just hitting the saber. Your lockup is to hold the button and hit the saber. To come out of that, press the button one time. You do have a stab and melt effect. That's the one I've been having the most problems with. I probably just need to adjust the sensitivity through the app. You also have a tip drag. So you hold the button and tap it pointed down on the floor. Just do it before you turn off the saber. And there's your tip drag. And to turn that off, press the button one time and it turns off. Now you've got a couple of ways you can change the sound font. You can do it through the app, or a short hold of the button takes you to the previous sound font, and holding it in for 5 seconds takes you forward to the next sound font. That covers most of your basic controls here, and there's a lot of things you can do through the app and more things that are coming through as they update it. I've already done a firmware update on the Saber right through the app. However, if you're like me and you had an older version of the app, if you go into the Google Play Store, because this is on an Android phone, it didn't have an update function. It didn't list an update. But when I searched for the Xeno configurator, I found a whole new app. So I went ahead and installed it. That's the one I'm using now. I have both installed on my phone. There is one major difference, aside from a lot of aesthetics, that you see between the two apps, and that is the battery level display. On the older app, you have a nice circle display showing you your battery level. On the newer app, you don't. That may be because you've got the battery check function right on the Saber, which I think is absolutely fantastic. But it's going to be interesting to see what this can take. One of the reasons this is so nose heavy is because the blade is so heavy. This is at about 11.6 ounces for just the hilt. The blade itself is at about 10.5. So that only leaves about 1.1 ounces on the back end to try and pull everything back. It's just not enough. You know, if you can find a heavier pommel, that'll bring your balance point closer to the hilt. But that's one of the things I'm always griping about. Okay, one thing I wanted to show you before we get onto the demonstration was a comparison between the Xenopixel V3 and Proffie 2.2. Let's go ahead and have the Xenopixel V3 and the Proffie 2.2. So as you can see, they're both actually really bright. I did have the volume turned down on the Proffie. So let's go ahead and just have a little fun, shall we? Now I try and show the colors here, but this is really bright. It may be oversaturating the camera.
The scavenger. Wisdom.
Alright guys, that's it for today's review. This does swing rather well once you get used to how nose heavy it is, but we're really going to see what this can take in the Crucible. We expect pieces and parts to fly. Until then, I'm Nick Nitro. Rocky has been with me today, and I will see you in the Crucible.